Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm so excited. I know I say that, but I really am today because we have a very special guest, Taylor Simpson, on the call. You can look her up on Instagram at I am that Taylor Simpson, or is it just
I am Taylor Simpson.
I am Taylor Simpson. I love it. It's so like I am.
Yep.
Um, I met this woman at Mommy Millionaire Live last fall. She actually spoke there. She was a speaker, and
Mhm.
I met you at the VIP night, and there was something about
Yes.
you. You were in this beautiful yellow dress. I remember because
Mm.
it's such a good color on you.
Thank you.
And you're so just like gorgeous, right? Stunning in
Thank you.
person. And you were so warm and friendly, but like confident at the same time. And like
Mm.
somehow we started just like jumping right into our stories. And it was incredible because I got to share some of my story with you. And then
Yeah.
you start telling me that like 5 years ago, you put
Yeah.
yourself into anger management, you
Yeah.
put yourself into food. I'm not going to say it
Addiction. Yeah.
right.
Overeaters Anonymous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Overeaters Anonymous,
It's a
right?
thing.
I mean, all these things that I'm looking at you and I'm like, there is no way that you were that person. And now you are an expert on the power of the subconscious mind.
Mhm.
You're a motivational speaker. You talk a lot about online business strategy. You work for yourself.
Yeah.
You've built your own
Yeah.
brand. You work with women. You have a mastermind and
Mm.
courses. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have this woman on my podcast.
I
So
love you.
welcome to the show.
Oh
Thank you.
my gosh, can you just like intro me all the time? I love that. Thank you. It's funny. I like to always like remind and start off by saying like if I can do it, you can do it, right? It's really easy when we are doing the work and in a place of maybe we're at, square one, and to see people that are right have that attributes of confident but loving, right? And we're like, oh my gosh, I want to be like that. Like everyone can. So what I have, the life I've created and who I've transformed myself into, anyone can do it. I'm no one special. So just going to put that reminder out there. But thank you, Joy, for bringing me on. And it was likewise. Your energy is so bright, and you just vibrate at such a high frequency. So I'm excited for today.
Well, that's good to hear because I've definitely been working on it.
Yay! Good. Well, it's working.
And I loved your sass on stage. You were so clear about like who you are and what you're doing and who you're serving, and like you don't give an F about what anybody thinks.
Nope.
And I was like, I gotta follow this woman. And I've been listening to your podcast,
Yay.
which is awesome. Everybody should go find it and listen to it. It's a tailored adventure.
Yep. To happiness.
Yeah, to happiness.
Pun intended.
Good
Tailored
name. I
adventure.
love it. Well, let's dive right in. Tell me
Yes.
how you ended up in anger management and food
I
over
know.
anonymous.
Yeah, it's funny hearing that, and when I talk about it, it feels like a completely different person because it literally is, but it wasn't that long ago. It still blows my mind, and that's a reminder that when we do the work, we can actually separate what's happened to us and not make it a part of us, but just a part of the journey that we were on and the chapter we're in. And for me, it's also a reminder of how powerful it is to be able to give ourselves DNA upgrades where we actually become a different human. I'm sure photos I even look different, right? Like we look at photos of ourselves like we were hot messes, and we're like, oh my god, like girl, you were a shit show. Like your skin's better now, right? And so for me, what landed me in that is really one night I was, gosh, I remember it like it was yesterday, sitting on my couch with my now ex-husband, spoiler alert, sitting on the couch, drinking a bottle of wine and never feeling so alone, like so alone. On the outside, I had looked like I had it all. I had, the beautiful home. I had a job. I worked for the United Nations for World Food Program. I've got my undergrad and my master's in international development. I'm living in Washington, D.C., right? I've got the clothes. I've got all the things. But behind the scenes, in my head, hot fucking mess and about as toxic, emotionally toxic of a marriage, with zero communication that you could want, right? So it was about what 3 years prior to that, um, is when one of the first of two really big events happened in my life that caused me to go down into a little bit of a spiral. And I grew up, kind of preface, I grew up in a family where, I don't know if you can relate to this, Joy, where we didn't talk about feelings. Like, and I'm sure some listeners too grew up in
Yeah.
families where, like, the cat died, and you just kind of like got over it, and you didn't have like process to like talk about the cat dying. Or
Right.
if you got hurt, like, you're okay, you're fine, but like, I'm hurt. Like, can we honor my? So we did not communicate about our feelings growing up whatsoever. So I had zero communication skills when it came to sharing my voice, and the pain or even good stuff that was happening in my life.
And
And
it's almost
so,
the silver lining, right? To the hard.
yeah,
Well, at least.
yeah, yeah. It's like, no, like we just sit in the shit. Like, can we just like work through this? Nope, didn't exist. So of course I married someone who grew up the same way, didn't talk about feelings, right? So like attracts like. And so I was sitting on that couch, yeah, just 2 or 3 years prior. I think it was 3 years actually. Um, I had was at summer camp. This was during my summer after college, and I was going to be a camp counselor. And then at that time, my boyfriend had lived in the area, and we were getting trained, and my boyfriend's family all of a sudden shows up, and they're like crying. I'm like, what is going on? Something's not good. Like, I'm in the middle of nowhere. Why are you guys here? And they said something happened to my nephew, and but wouldn't tell me what. And my sister lived about an hour and a half away from where I was, and they said, like, let's get in the car, we'll take you over to what's happening. No one would tell me what was going on, right? Because my family doesn't like no one would tell me. We were just going to a hospital. That's all I know.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so we put our flashers on, and we get to what should have taken an hour and a half. I'm like shaking, no one's answering their phone. My boyfriend's family knew where to go, so we get there in about 40 minutes. And when I arrive at the hospital, and I'm ushered into the emergency area, I see sister, my older sister, who I lived with for a few months, right outside of a room. And she's shaking, she's crying. And I come into the room, and my nephew had died. He died due to neglect at a daycare.
What?
The Yeah, the woman, the daycare runner, um, he was sleeping on his stomach, 5 months old, didn't know tummy time, thought he was sleeping, and so he suffocated. Yeah, and so I then, they were waiting for me to pass him off to go in to autopsy. So that's why we had to hurry up and get there. I did not know that. So as I'm there holding my nephew and having to say goodbye, I then decide that moment I'm going to move in with my sister, because I was there for his birth and took care of him his first 4 months, because baby daddy wasn't in the picture. And so I move in with her immediately. I quit my job and begin to support her and help her healing. And during this time, I'm pouring into her. Guess who I'm not pouring into? Myself.
Yep.
I'm not going to therapy after, having to hold my dead
Trauma.
nephew.
Yeah,
No one's checking in on me, right? Asking me how I'm doing. But then again, I'm also not asking for help.
of course.
And so, yeah,
Was
about,
your sister doing therapy? Was she doing any of those things?
yes, she was.
Okay, good.
Yes, 100%. And then about 2 months after this, I find out that my dad, who was a pastor, was having a 20-year affair on top of sleeping with parishioners while giving them marriage counseling. So this was 2 months
Okay,
after
hold up.
this.
Your dad
I
is
know.
here too? Because mine is too.
No way.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh
Oh
my
my
gosh.
God.
We're pastors' kids. This
Oh
makes
God.
so much sense.
Yeah. And so we find
Uh,
that out. And I approach him about it. I only found out kind of like a sliver of that at that time, and he said it was gonna all be taken care of and they were gonna work it out, blah blah. I believe them. Never did any healing around that. I read some very devastating emails that I should not have read between him and other women, and he promised me that he'd take care of it. You trust your father, right? And so I don't talk to anyone about it. A few months go by. And I go back to my life after that, move back out with my sister and go right back into life, and go back into then working for the UN. And then that's when I got married, blah blah blah. During this time, I am being incredibly toxic to myself, to other people, not doing the work right. I've now got massive anger building up in me for those two things that happened that no one talked about. And so it got to a point where, fast forward on that couch, I had been eating my feelings up until then, like, I mean, crushing like sheets of cookies and ice cream and just literally eating my feelings away. And then also like breaking things, like my husband, ex-husband and I would get into a fight. I would like pick up a vase and just like smash it. Like I was like straight up, I had so much pent up anger that I didn't know where to put it. And because I didn't know how to communicate and speak my truth and my feelings, right, where does it go? So that I decided that night, when I never felt so alone, I was so sick and tired of not being who I knew I was pre all of this, who was bubbly, happy, right? The person you see today. She
Yeah.
got stifled. She got put away into a closet and began people pleasing and serving everyone else. And so that next day, I went to Overeaters Anonymous, OA, and submitted myself into that and got a sponsor and began going to meetings, and then also put myself into anger management, got a sponsor there as well. And with that, both of them recommended that I do some movement. I go work out, I go do yoga, something to move the energy in my body, among the other work I started doing. So that's when I joined a gym and I created an Instagram account to share my gym outfits, because fashion has always been my way. You know, on stage, fashion's like my
Yeah.
thing. I've always got something crazy on. And so the gym, I share my gym outfits. And quickly that Instagram account started growing because people loved my funky gym outfits, like my neon headband and neon crop top, all of that. And I just began sharing where I was from, sharing my workouts, and really started doing massive reflection now during this time, and
You were
began
still
to.
working at the same job?
I'm still working the same job, totally, which I was hating, right? Like I was just miserable. I was miserable. I thought it was my dream job. It was miserable. And I began to realize that up until that moment, I never asked for help. I never spoke up. I never got support. I never said, hey, could someone just like listen to what I have to say? That everything up into that event, even the person I married, was completely my choice and not anyone's responsibility but mine. And
What made
so,
you
yeah,
realize that though? Because there's so
yeah,
many, and I've been there where I
yeah.
realize like, hey, it's your job to ask for this.
Yes. For me, it was reading the book The Power of Now. I don't even remember how that book came into my life. I want to get like hypnotized so I can remember. But I remember being 10 pages into that book and being like, it just kind of like that was my like spiritual awakening of like, whoa, shit. Like there's a bigger picture. The world doesn't revolve just around me 24/7, as much as we would all like that, right? And
Right.
so that was a book that really kind of woke me up, um, to look within.
So what kind of things did you start asking for?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
practical examples.
Yeah. So like for like working on my communication.
Anything. Like when you
Yeah.
realized, hey, I haven't been asking
Yep.
for help, what did that look like on a day-to-day basis?
Yes. Even as small as at the grocery store. So I dealt with massive social anxiety during this as well. I'd have full blown panic attacks at the grocery store when it was my turn to check out. I'm not even kidding you. Massive anxiety, and
Wow.
so little as at the grocery store asking the cashier how her day was. That, like, little things to just like start having conversations and asking, and then having them ask me, right, how am I doing? I just share little stuff like that. And then it came to having conversations with my mom, like tough conversations, letting her know how I was really feeling, doing that healing, that forgiveness work, asking her to support me in this journey, which she fully began to support me and woke up to, asking friends to come over if I was feeling really, really down. So just little things that like were painful for me to ask for because I was such a bad communicator and didn't want to make it about me. Um, I had to just rip off the band-aid and do that and make it really uncomfortable.
what got you to push past that though? Because I think so many of us know we should.
Yeah. Yeah.
We think we should. We're like, oh no, like we shy away.
Totally. I knew that I was here for a greater purpose. I knew that I had survived all that, and a ton of other things that happened during childhood, which we don't, we wanted to go to. But I knew that if I had gone through what I'd gone through up until that age, I had something to give. I was here for a reason. God, the universe, divine, put me here for something. And then in order to be able to figure out what that gift was, I had to get out of my own fucking way and stop making it about myself and really putting myself out there to allow other people to hold space for me, which makes me then become a better version. Because when we're giving, giving, giving and emptying our cup, how are we expected to show up for our gift? Like, we have to make sure that we allow other people to hold space for us too, because that's actually going to fill our cup up.
And it's giving them a gift.
100%. Like, everyone loves to support people.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to the gym, you're making
Yep, I'm going to the gym, and totally. And my body starts to change, and my little 90-pound frame body starts putting on muscle. And so people on Instagram like, hey, like, what are you doing? What are your workouts? Like, can you help me? So I was like, well, sure. Went and got my NASM certification so I could figure out what the fuck I was doing, because I had no background in that. And so I began to then help people. I paid my girlfriend and a bottle of wine to create a janky ass website for me on WordPress, and put a PayPal button for one-on-one coaching, and then people started asking for group coaching. So I created a challenge, my very first 8-week body challenge, and just doing this over and over again. People were just asking more and more for me to support them, and so I created the programs to support them. And 10 months of doing this, I was at a point where I was actually matching the income I had, over matching it, that I was making at my 9 to 5, which was
all
amazing.
Organically on Instagram.
All organically.
Having fun.
Literally.
And like just doing something for total.
Just being me.
This is where I tell people, like, it is possible to monetize anything.
Oh my gosh. Well, up to this day, I now run an over $500,000 company. I've never used a single ad. Literally.
Amazing.
Everything is organic to this day. Will I get into Facebook ads? Absolutely. But I haven't needed to up until now, right? I'll continue to not until I have to or feel called to. So it really is. I love that you point that out, Joy. It was me just being myself and having fun and doing the inner work that allowed me to show up as the highest version of myself for my community and for myself. Like, that combination right there will really truly call in the abundance that we all want. Truly.
Take a quick second to describe to people the highest version of themselves.
Oh, like what their highest version is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're wondering what your highest version is, close your eyes and really think about maybe someone who inspires you, someone who's living a life similar to that you want to live. Someone that when you see them walk into a room, they light up the room and you're like, I want that. Start kind of picking up things that you like about other people, or even you've seen on movies, right? Use your imagination and then put yourself in it and see yourself. How would you wake up? What's the home look like that you wake up in? How do you go to the grocery store and communicate with strangers? How do you show up for work? How do you think about yourself? How do you think about others? I mean, every little detail of who you dream of becoming, that's your highest self.
You know what's so funny about this? I love that you're sharing all of this.
Yes.
A year ago, I was super stuck in my business, and it finally clicked. Something clicked for me on my own, that I was like, man, if I want what those people have, it means I have to start making decisions and acting like them now.
Yes.
Whereas before in my business, I always thought like, oh, once I get there, then I can.
Oh, yes.
And all of a sudden I was like, no. So what I started doing was taking regular time to sit down and say, okay, Joy, what does that version of you,
yes,
what does she do for business today? What does she do to handle this meeting? How would she talk to a coach about the business? How would she talk about the business? Like all this stuff. And so every day I started saying, I need to show up as her today. And I didn't realize that's what I was doing, was my highest self. And so then when I started like working more with Kayla and like all of you guys and started hearing it, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing that. I just didn't know it was called that.
Yeah, you didn't have a good name for it. Isn't it funny when we innately know? What a testament to we have the answers within us. We don't need a title like your highest self, right? We all have the innate answers within us, and it's just like it's listening to what feels good and taking action on what feels good. Like that's how I live my life.
Because we can all picture that person we would totally love to be
Yes.
and then we can show up as them today, even if we don't have the
Yes.
resources.
No, you don't like wait if the power of literally manifesting anything you want. Like I'm sitting in my dream, like actual, like off a Pinterest board home office in my
I've seen
dream.
it. It is
Up,
a Pinterest board.
it is straight up off Pinterest and I will own the fuck out of that. Because it's like when we like time is an illusion and hang with me if this is like going to sound woo woo AF. It's not woo woo, it's science. Time is an illusion. It's irrelevant. It's not a thing, right? The clock was created for farmers to be able to know when to wake up to go plant the seeds. Right? It's there for us to be organized and to be able to live life in a systematic way. Delete the clock, delete years, delete numbers, all of that. And if we're just this big, massive, expansive space, no time, no future, right? Just the present moment, that means your future self and your past self is in the present moment. And that each moment, if you decide to act like your future self who's joined, the $50,000 mastermind or who has her dream apartment or is traveling the world, whatever your highest self is doing, that is your future self, the goal that you're chasing after. If you can embody her as if you have all of that now, if time is an illusion, you have no choice but to send off the frequencies and the energy to the people, the opportunities, the money that are on that level of your highest self. So, for example, if you want, if you want to start calling in $5,000 a month paying clients, right? Who do you need to act like? Who do you need to show up as? What's the conversations you need to be having on a minute to minute basis? Would you go around and be like, yeah, I've got this little coaching business and like hell no, you wouldn't. You'd be like, yeah, I am an elite coach. I help women make a fuck ton of money, whatever your mission is. Like that's how you talk.
Right.
And then all of a sudden when you're in a coffee shop having this conversation with someone overhears it because they're on the same frequency at this point. Oh
Uh-huh.
my God, I need a coach. Can I hire you? That's just how it works. And then boom, you're a $5,000 a month coach.
So I know that you hear this probably from your
Yeah,
clients, and
bring
people who
it.
are listening are going to say it too.
Uh-huh.
But isn't that like an imposter? Because if I'm saying that I do this, but I haven't actually done it yet,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just heard this the other day from someone.
Totally. Well, you wouldn't say I'm a $5,000 a month coach. You act as if you are, and you ask yourself, you could say, I'm an elite coach, right? I'm an elite coach who helps a very specific type of woman who loves to invest in themselves and grow, right? So it's showing up as if, but when it comes down to, yeah, you would never say like, I'm, a
Yeah,
5,000,
yeah.
yeah,
But
never. That's like weird.
the elite part, I'm like, you don't need somebody else to tell you that you can call yourself an
No.
elite coach.
Oh hell no! Like I mean, are you kidding me? My title's an expert on the power of the subconscious mind. Like I made out that fucking title.
Yes. But so many people are like, but you can't do it. And I'm like, why are you so in the box?
Yeah,
Get out of the box.
all the magic happens outside the box. What happens in the box is scarcity, is lack, is judgment, is keeping yourself small. All the good shit is when you just like dissolve those walls and don't give a fuck about anything else.
Well, it's when you decide, like, wait a minute, I don't have to do what everybody else is telling me I have to do. Like,
Yeah,
I don't have to say, I don't have to ask people's permission
yeah,
to
yeah,
call myself what I want to call myself. And
yes.
newsflash, all the successful people don't wait for somebody else to give them the title.
Hell no. Like you declare that like now and you own it. And and it, for example, right, like I always show up as someone who teaches people how to tap in the frequency of money. Thus, I'm always filling up every program I put out because I'm showing up in my expertise, in my gift, in my light, fearlessly, and that's magnetic. People want to be around people that are fearless because they want to tap into that energy and get some for themselves. Like, so if you are inspired by someone, you're like, well, I don't really know how to act like like my future self, or like find a mentor, join one of their free program, their Facebook group, get
Yep.
in their fucking energy,
Yeah.
even if it's online, and you will literally siphon off their vibrations. It's just
Sure.
how it works.
Well, you constantly have to be looking around saying, am I hanging out with the people that I want to be like?
Yes, 100%.
That's how we
Every
get.
yeah, every room you're in, every group you join, you should be terrified to be in that room and intimidated. And if you aren't intimidated, you're in the wrong room. Like, if you're not uncomfortable and doubting yourself, you're in the wrong room.
Oh, 100%. And you're speaking my language because I'm going to our first mastermind event tonight. And all of a sudden I'm sitting here like, what am I doing in this room? Like everybody
Uh-huh.
else is so much farther along than me.
But you're in the right space,
Telling
because
me
guess
I'm
what?
in the right spot.
They're gonna pull you up right with them. Like, you're gonna look back and be like, oh my god, remember that time I was so nervous? How cute! Like, how adorable. Yeah,
Aw.
yeah. You got to get in those spaces that scare you in
Okay,
order
so
to expand.
you were able to quit your job.
Yep. I was able to quit my job, and then take on my first business, Tailored Fitness, full time, which then over time evolved into what I do now, because
Yeah.
people were getting their physical results. And fitness usually is always the transition into the self development world, because like removing energy,
Yeah.
and then it's kind of like a meditation. It's a form of meditation, and so then people got their physical results, but they were still miserable. They were being victim. They were blaming everyone else. They were unhappy. And I was like, and at this time, I'm studying neuroscience, psychology, mindset, law. Which I'm like nerding the fuck out before it was cool to like talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like nose deep in reading. I cut my cable off, gosh, at this point, like 6 years ago, and dove into all of this. So I had the tools that I knew they needed, but I was like, well, are they ready for it? Because all I talk about is fitness, right? I had that like, oh my God, I can't talk about mindset because I'm a fitness person. And I was really big in the bodybuilding world back then. So I didn't want to like ruin my reputation. And so I was like, fuck it. Like, at this point, do I really care? So I started talking about mindset, and people then started incorporating that with their workout programs, and boom, their lives would completely change. And then I started getting known as a mindset coach because all the results I was getting people. And
Yeah.
then over time, Tailored Fitness is now just passive. Like, it's, if you were literally go to tailoredfitness.co, like it's like a thing. But like I don't even go on there. And then that stepped into the company that I now have built, which is strictly all mindset, and aligned business strategies, by simply listening to my people and what they wanted.
That's amazing right there.
Yeah.
But like you can always fill a void. Is
Yeah,
what I'm telling
always.
you. Like you can always find something that people need.
Yep. Even if it like like trick or my inner rule for that is always asking, okay, what's missing, but what feels good to me? Because it's really easy to fall into well, right, like right now, if you're a manifestation coach or like a law of attraction coach, there's a million of them, right? So it's making sure that you don't do it because it's like a popular thing right now,
Yeah.
but that you do it because it feels good to you. Because if we make who we're speaking to and a program we create out of, oh, this is what sells, right? That's actually low vibrational and can really fuck up your money game. Long term, short term, sure, you might win a little, right? But long term, it's it'll end up fucking you over. But yeah, absolutely.
Dive more into that about the long-term thing and it not working
Yeah,
well. Because I know I personally
yeah.
have tried things before and been like just interested because I knew it would give me a paycheck.
Uh-huh, exactly.
But I
You
knew
get burnt
that's
out.
not my long-term thing.
Yes, no. You can get burnt out, because if we are doing something out of alignment, and we're kind of forcing it because it's going to work and it's going to make us money. Yeah, it works, but then doing that every single day, grinding, 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 making the money, you will literally get burnt out, and then you'll actually begin to resent what you're creating. So I'm sure so many listeners have put out launches and all of this. It didn't really turn out the way they wanted. They didn't get the clients they wanted, and now they're like, "Fuck it, I give up. Like, I'm so exhausted. Why am I doing this?" it's because you were doing something out of alignment with who you are and what you really want to give. And what can happen is our ego, when we're like, yeah, but I really want to help this type of person, which is like super unique and niche down, is that our ego could be like, yeah, but that's not going to make you any money. Yeah, but no one's going to buy from you. No one's going to pay you for that. That's your ego trying to protect you. But when it comes to long term, if you don't want to get burnt out, if you want to make this a long term gift and a service that you give until you decide to change your mind, right? As you evolve, right? I went from fitness to subconscious mind work, money work. I evolve. Like, who knows what I'm going to be teaching in 5 years, right? And so being able to make sure that we always do it from a place of alignment, you're able to pivot and you're able to scale energetically so much easier than having to like scratch it, delete, shit, now I'm at square one again. You just gracefully, I mean, I've gracefully pivoted so much and my business continues to drop double, triple every single year. And I'm no different. I just choose to make sure that every action I take in my business feels good.
How do you know if it's feeling good versus feeling bad versus you're just being kind of lazy?
Yeah, totally. For me, if someone's being lazy, that means that their why isn't strong enough. So let's start with that one. If you're being lazy, you're making it about you, right? There's a difference between lazy on the days where you're just energetically low and you're like, yo, I just want to fucking like Netflix and chill all day, which I'm all about that life. Like there's some days where like I'm just like, I don't want to do anything at all. Like I don't want to do anything. And that's okay. That's not lazy. That's listening to your energy, your cup. But when it comes to lazy, I'm like, well, I don't really feel like posting on Instagram or Facebook. I don't really feel like doing live because I don't feel like it. So for me, here's the tough love part is like, get over yourself, right? When we don't show up for our community with the gift that we have, that's our responsibility to share, we're making it about ourselves. And nothing irks me more than when like someone has a gift they have to give or a support and they're like, I don't want to, like, and they make it about them, right? And so when you don't show up, ask yourself like, fuck, am I making this about me and actually holding back the gift that I have to give that could change someone's life? Or am I hiding out of fear of not, no one liking my post, right? Really being able to dive deeper into that. It's always rooted in something. Laziness of not wanting to show up in your business is a root, usually of fear of success, fear of judgment, or fear of failure. Those three, I think, I've been there, right? I can check every one of those off my list.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of like how I dictate, if it's being lazy, is get a really powerful why. Like, why are you doing this? What's your message? What's your gift? And let that be your fire. Like for me, there's days where I I might be going through some shit in life, but I'm going to show up for my community 110% because it's my responsibility. So having that why. And then so when being able to tune into what is alignment or not, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, your body. So for me, I go off of my body. If it's in my gut, it's not for me. If it's in my heart, expansive, it's for me. So being able to close your eyes and just be like, okay, where am I feeling this in my body? Is it heavy in my gut? Do I have kind of maybe like bloating or gas or cramps or just like fear, anxiety? Or is it my heart and I feel alive and excited, maybe fearful, right?
I was
But
going to say, what
excited.
if you feel both at the same time?
That's okay. The same chemicals are let off in your body when you feel fear as when you feel excitement. The
I know.
exact same things are happening in your body. It's just the title you have on it. Yeah. So that's how I differentiate the two.
Now, what would you say to people where they're like, okay, I have a business, I want to work it, I want to show up, but I'm just like, I don't know what to talk about. I'm not motivated about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ask yourself as doing the work and really getting honest with yourself on what you want to help people with. And even just starting small, right? If you're a mom, just start sharing like mom guilt, like
Yeah.
shame, like, mom shame stories. Like, right. Like this morning, I, yelled at my kid because they were driving me nuts. And now I feel really bad. And I'm like an awful mom, right? Like talk about your life. Just start something, just start inspiring. So 3 different type of posts that you could do: inspiring, value, or funny, like entertaining.
Yeah.
Those 3. Like if you can just muster up just sharing something about yourself, a story, or providing a tip, like if you like to cook, right? Post a recipe. do something that just feels good to you, but you also know is going to bring value via entertainment, knowledge, or a story to someone else.
And what about people that are like, you know what, this sounds awesome. I do think like that I have a bigger purpose than what I'm currently doing, but like I have no idea what it is. And I
Yeah,
know because every time we've gotten on calls with Kayla, she's always like, you're not allowed to say I don't know. But truly, like I've had times where I'm like, but I really literally don't know. Like
yeah,
I feel like this
yeah,
is a question I've searched for my whole life is like, what is my thing? What is
yeah,
my thing?
yeah. Your thing is to figure out your thing right now and to share that journey. Literally.
Is that what you tell your clients?
Yeah, like that you're if you truly aren't able to figure it out, and what happens is you're visually you're taking this thing that you're looking for, like a ball. You're like, where's the ball? Where's the ball? And the universe is like, that's not how it works. Like everything happens in the unknown, and you're taking like a lasso, and you're like trying to lasso this ball and drag it to you, which is not right. Your purpose isn't a thing. It evolves. Your purpose is who you are right now and how you show up in the world. So if you don't know your purpose today and every single second moving forward is to just be happy, to compliment people, to smile, right? That could be your purpose right now and moving forward. And before you know, you're going to start having a conversation with people at the coffee shop that you struck up a conversation with because your purpose is to spread happiness, and they might inspire you with the job that they have. And you're like, ooh, like that feels good to me, right? So just showing up every day as the best version of yourself can be your purpose.
I love the focus on your purpose is about who do you want to be, not
Yeah.
what what's the thing.
The
Like
thing.
what
There's
do you
no
want
thing.
to do? There's
Yep.
nothing.
There's
I
no
had
thing.
I had a moment like that over Christmas where I was like, man, I feel like I've been searching for my thing for years and I still can't figure it out. And like, what if this year I pick something and it ends up being like the wrong thing? Like,
Yeah.
and then I finally had this moment of like, it can't be the wrong thing, Joy. Like maybe that is
No.
your point this year,
Yeah.
is to just embrace the process. Like
Yeah.
maybe
Just
your
start, like,
whole life is going to
start.
be figuring out the thing. Like
Yeah.
it's just the journey. And there is
Yeah.
a wrong path because every path I've taken from here has gotten me here, like up to this point. So it would get me to the next thing. Like so
Oh, there we go. We're back. We're back.
I was like, I think I lost you. So it was like
There we go.
light bulb. I know it shouldn't have been, but it was like this light bulb of
Yeah.
like, stop putting so much pressure
Yeah.
on yourself, literally is what it is.
Yeah.
Like hurry up and
Yeah.
figure out your thing.
Yep, 100%. Like, just allow yourself to be present and to have fun on this ride. Like, make the ride fun, not pressure inducing. Yeah.
I know we talked a little bit before the call about the victim like mindset
Yeah.
and how to recognize that.
Yeah. An easy way to predict if you are in victim mode, which no one likes to admit that they're in victim mode, right? Because victim, it's when you it's almost like you're avoiding doing the inner work, and you're wearing this like jacket of protection, and you're blaming everyone else for why your life isn't working or why you're not becoming happier. When you literally avoid just like putting the mirror up. I always joke, my friends and my peers are always like, mirror. I'm like the queen of like, when someone says something, I'm like, how's that a mirror of yourself? And they're like, fuck, damn it. So right, it's putting the mirror test, putting a mirror up to yourself and being like, okay, how am I showing up in this moment that I'm judging someone else or I'm blaming someone else for my lack of happiness? How, if I put the mirror, how can I blame myself for my lack of happiness? How can I ask myself, right, what I need to do and how I need to show up and the person I get to become. So literally putting a mirror up every time you want to blame someone and bring it back to yourself. Because 99.9% of the time,
Correct.
um, when we're in victim, it's literally our fault. 99.9% of the time. Or right, if something happened to you, you just hadn't done the healing work
Correct.
around moving past that.
Or you
But
haven't
I'm talking about
just
lighter
respond.
stuff. Yes.
Like, because your response changes everything, and people don't
Everything.
they think like a response. I know I used to think like, oh, we
Yeah.
can't change that much, really.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
after changing my life, I was like, oh, wait a
Yeah.
minute.
Yes. 100%. Like, and if we stay in that victim mode for our whole lives and allow ourselves to fall prey to staying small and people pleasing and all of that, God, we're not going to go anywhere. We can't expect to expand and create the life we want by staying in our little box, our woe is me box.
And I think it's like completely freeing when you can realize like your situation doesn't need to change for
Yeah.
it to change.
Never. Because where you are is where you are.
Oh, that's a good that's a good comeback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, right. People are like, oh, when I move, then I'll be happier. When I get this, well, good luck. When you go on vacation, guess what's going to happen? You're still going to be fucking miserable and in victim. You're in victim now. Like Hawaii ain't going to change that.
Because something will happen there because we can't control
Yeah.
anything but ourselves. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I never, never.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, you're amazing.
So
Tell
good.
everybody like how specifically you work with people and like
Yeah.
where they can find you and all of that kind of stuff.
Totally. Yes. So come find me. Come say hi. I'm a Leo Pitta. I'm a super intense, fiery person, and I got a lot of energy. So if you're like, give me some energy, give me some of that, literally come DM me and just say hi. I love to share that. So I am Taylor Simpson over on IG. I've got a podcast, A Tailored Adventure to Happiness, which I know you mentioned at the beginning, Joyce. So come, like I talk about gosh, woo shit from like, quantum field to the vortex to self development, motivational stuff to get you off your ass and to light the fire under you. Tough love, right? And so what I help people with is two things. So I help people really tap into the frequency of money, different than money mindset. I actually work with energy through science, mysticism, and spirituality to understand how money works and how to like literally get into the frequency of it and become a magnet for it because you're on that same page. So I teach people how to do that, and I'm super obsessed with it. I do that one-on-one. I've got group programs. I have a retreat. I do retreats, which I'm leaving for Bali next month for a retreat, and then I also have a mastermind that I do twice a year. Yeah, I do a little bit of everything, but it's all around when I do business. Every business strategy I teach has that energy and mysticism and science infused in it. So that way it's aligned AF, which means you can become abundant AF. So that's what I do. And that's what I can help people with.
And you're so fun to follow on Instagram. I love watching your life over there.
Oh my gosh, I love you. I love you. I do. I'm like one of those people my life literally morning to night on IG story. So if you want some entertainment, kind of like a vlog,
It's so fun. It's so fun. Okay, so my
Yeah.
last question for you that I
Yeah.
ask everybody who's on the show is like, what would you say to people who might be in the hard, that rock bottom,
Mm.
and they're like wondering why they should dig in and get to work on themselves instead of just like surviving it? Because I know we all have hard stuff
Mm.
happen to us. There's a
Mm-hmm.
difference between just like waiting it out, writing it out,
Yeah.
right, until it's over versus, you know what, I'm going to use this as like a catalyst to something better. So
Yeah.
I'm going to intentionally like lean in.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really asking yourself, like, what's your bigger picture? Right? Don't think about what's going wrong in the moment and what you wish could be better because attention goes where energy flows. Really allow yourself to play in the infinite possibilities of what the potential you have, like the life that you could possibly create. Like release the how, the why, the when. Allow yourself to dream, like be childlike and imagine who you could become in the life that you want to create, and let that lift your energy up just enough where you're then maybe able to ask like a friend for support, or hop on that call with a coach you like, or go on Instagram live and just share a quote, right? Like if we just lift our energy up just enough to kind of get out of our own mind, that monkey mind, and look at the bigger picture of the potential that we can become, that's just a quick little fix to raise your vibration into a better feeling.
And it's a lot less overwhelming because I think
So
people,
much baby steps.
yeah. And I think when you're in the hard, people look at like, oh, I want that, but oh
Yeah,
my gosh, that's like so far away. It's completely
yeah,
hard instead of like,
yeah,
no, do the next right thing. Like,
yeah.
do what you can
Yes,
today.
yes, that's it. That's it.
Totally.
That's all you need to do. Yeah.
Did you say that you had a money meditation somewhere?
Oh my gosh, I do. I'm obsessed. Like when you're obsessed with your own meditation, like who says that? I'm obsessed because other people are obsessed with it. And so yes, I have my very first guided meditation. I've always done guided meditations for clients in my mastermind and my retreats, but I've never recorded one. And the result it's giving people is like literally like mind blowing. So I would love for the listeners to, if you guys want it, it's free. Go grab it. It's called a Become a Money Magnet guided meditation, and it'll get you like high vibe AF.
Okay.
And really magical shit will happen to you throughout the day from it. So if you could just, you can go to abundancerewired.com/meditation, and I'll give you that link, Joy.
Yeah, that'd
It's
be great.
also linked in my bio on IG. So yeah, go down on
Yay.
that and like and tune in.
I'm going to go try it out.
Yay. It's so good. So good.
Thank you for being
Good.
on the show. It was great
Yay.
you today.
Thank you so much, Joy, for having me on. I just adore you and everything that you are. So thank you for including me in your community.
Oh my gosh. Yes, come back.
Yay. Yes,
I'll have
done.
you back
Done.
again. And everybody, if you love this episode, don't forget to share it out on IG stories. Tag us. Tell us your biggest takeaway. We would love to hear from you and shout you out. And go have an awesome day.